Welcome to طاولة السفرة, dinner table, common ground. What I want to talk to you today about is the fact that when we came as immigrants close to 50 years ago, we were, it seems to me like a completely different breed than the newcomers now. The immigrants today, I don't even recognize even the ones that have come from my country, Iraq. I have actually seen a huge change even before the Iraq War. Maybe about we moved in '78. We came to the U.S. in '78. About 20 or 30 years later, some of our relatives who were still in Iraq started to come to the US. And when we would talk to them, it just seems like they're completely different people. They're not the same people we grew up with. Their culture had changed, and so was ours. And it just made no sense whatsoever, especially when it's all about rights and wrongs. For example, um, one of my cousins had a business he would tell people, like, he wanted to keep clients coming and he didn't know how to please them. So one of the things that he would tell them all the time is that, oh, my wife makes very good food, I'll cook for you. I mean, I'll make sure that she cooks, and I'll bring food for you, and things like that, that would, he in his mind would encourage these people to come to the store. He never did. He never had his wife cook anything. It was just a ploy to bring people there, and he knew that from the beginning. I met one of my friends who is a client of his, told me that that's what he told her. And when I asked him, I said, really, what is your wife going to cook? He said, nothing, I was just saying that so she can come back. That's what I noticed. There was a huge change in the way, the behavior, the attitude, the dealings with others. And it just made me think, is that what dictatorship did to that part of the world, or those countries? It sure does. I mean, this was during the Saddam time when he had the embargo. He was the only person they heard from. All the TVs, all the media, everything was all controlled by him. And so people, their rights and wrong were him. That whatever he dictated, that's what they took. And that's what I always think of when I think of the people that are coming from that part of the world right now. There has been a big vacuum in discipline, in responsibility, in what's right and what's wrong. It doesn't make any sense to me when I see people come to the US or go to Europe and disrupt different things. For example, just before Christmas, I noticed that in Europe, apparently they have, and I don't know, I've never seen it here in the United States, but I think that they do have these things that are called Christmas markets in Europe in different cities. And apparently the one in England had, they didn't do it this year because the cost for protection was too high. They couldn't do that, they couldn't afford it. It's just a small market that people open up during the holiday season, and they just, people buy spaces to put tables in, and they sell items. They could sell anything from coffee to hot chocolate to cakes and knickknacks. And people go there, spend a few hours, they take their kids, they play, they eat ice cream or drink hot chocolate, they play around, they might buy some things for their family or gifts for the Christmas holiday and go home. And they may listen to some Christmas music. Well, when these immigrants go around those fences where the market is and start singing and drumming on very loud noises and disrupt it basically, to the point where people are annoyed, they don't want to go, they're afraid, and they're worried that it could be some kind of, somebody's gonna, act like in an act of violence. It just makes no sense to me whatsoever that why would you do that? These people opened their doors and said, welcome, come here. And we're not talking about the government, we're talking about the people. The people are they're welcoming you, they're inviting you to their homes, they're dealing with you, and you insist on showing them the bad side of society, the bad side of any society. You insist on wanting them to hate you. It makes me think like a teenager who is so unhappy with his surrounding or her surrounding that they hate the world, and they want the world to hate them. Not only that they hate the world, but they purposely want the world to hate them. They act in a very, very bad way. They act in a very disruptive way. They want to destroy everything around them. And there's something missing in that. Now, these immigrants I'm talking about in Europe, they didn't immigrate tomorrow. They've immigrated a few years ago. And when they went there, I think that they went as families. So their families are there. Their families, now that the problems that they had in their countries no longer exist, where they actually have to stand in line all day long to get rations, and they're fearful for their lives because the government is hurting this group of people and that group of people, and you don't know whether you belong to that group or not belong to that group. So now that you are in a space, in a very nice area where all your responsibility is to obey the laws and make money for your family, just make a living for your family. And then when you get there and turn against that country and not teach your kids to be nice and to be like cordial and appreciate what this country is giving you, it doesn't matter what country it is. Now, don't give me this thing about religion, because that's just a ploy. Yeah, sure, if you want to make the whole world Muslim, go right ahead. There was a lot of people that are making the whole world Muslim, but they don't do it this way. You're making people purposely to hate you. This has nothing to do with the religion. So when you send your kids, and the kids go there and they're playing on these huge drums and they're singing Arabic songs that has nothing to do with anything, while the people on the other side are just trying to enjoy themselves, they're not disrupting you, they're not doing anything to hurt you, they're just going about their day. And you came from a place where everything was bad, everything in that, you're called a refugee. A refugee status, as the definition, is that you're in a refuge because that area where you came from, you cannot survive, you cannot live. Therefore, you have taken refuge in a different place to save your life. You're safe now. Now that you are safe, you're making it not safe for the people who took you in and made it safe for you. How awful is that? There's something in the psyche of those people that makes them want to do that. And the fact is, most of the ones that I did see in the videos that they were showing on social media, most of them are young kids. They're teenagers in their 20s maybe, and they're not like 30s and 40s and adults that are responsible family people. But and even the songs they're singing, they're not singing any religious song. They're just singing songs of their countries, their Arabic countries. And they're holding flags, and they're, for many, many different countries. To me, there's something wrong in their head. And the fact is, when these people, I want to know, when these people leave there and they're having so much fun destroying everything around them in this new country that they now live in, and they've opened their doors and said, come on, enjoy life, better for you here. Then they go home and say, hey, Mom, guess what we did? Guess what we did? There were all thousands of us. And we went to this place, the Christmas market. And of course, they're in most, like very unintelligent people, dumb, I don't know, ignorant. They think that the word Christmas and Christmas market, it has to be something that's very religious. They think that these people are going inside the Christmas market and praying, and therefore they're going to destroy their religion. Now that's not even the reason why this is happening. Those people are not, if one of them would only buy one ticket for to be a witness to everything goes inside that Christmas market, they'll find out that that's not the way it is. Yet they go home, I'm sure hey mom, look what we did this, and look at us, we're on social media, the news showed us, and look, I'm right there, see, I'm doing this. And his mom is like, good boy, I'm so proud of you. Let's do this. Let's hurt these people. Let's hurt these countries, these infidels, these whatever. And I'm sitting here thinking, do these people belong to me? Do I represent them? Do they represent me? That's not the case. What do I have to do in order to tell the world we don't belong to each other anymore? We are from two different species now. I don't know how to, how to make that change. Now, when I came to this country and I appreciated everything in this country and I loved this country and I moved forward in this country, they gave me a life there is no way I could have had I stayed in Iraq. And everything about this country is so wonderful and so great and such a blessing. And then September 11 happened. And my initial reaction at that time, the first thing that I started thinking of is, how do I change the mentality of the world about Arabs? Because that's not who we are. There were 19 of them that committed crimes. That's only those 19 people. That's not us. Arabs are not like that. And I did everything possible, my brain that told me to do, in order to make sure that people knew that's not us. That's really not Arabs. But now I'm thinking, wait a minute, I'm wrong. These are Arabs. I'm the one who's not Arab. But I want to refuse saying that. I don't want to step out of that piece, because unless that circle of Arabs includes everybody, the good ones and the bad ones, we're not going to be able to fix it. It makes me think it's just like these very bad areas where, crime rates goes up and the city doesn't do anything about it, and the good people leave and it stays bad and bad and bad. And then eventually when the towns or the police or the cities come in and say, okay, we're going to clean it up, we're going to pay attention to it, and we're going to make it better, by then the destruction had been so bad, and that area, to actually rehab it and bring it back to life and make it good, it'll take a lot more multiples of funds and resources to bring it back to life. So from that mentality, I think that if I leave that circle of Arabs, then that's what I'm doing. I'm leaving it to where only the bad people are there, and then rehabbing that and bringing them back to life is going to be a huge effort. But if I'm there and they know I'm there, I'm part of them, and they see me as an example, and they say, okay, I'm not just me, I'm talking about all the people that came to this country from the Middle East during the time where we knew how to behave, we had good manners, we knew how to appreciate this country, we were taught the right way of growing up and knowing what we needed from life and how we reach it. And if we stay there, then those bad ones are going to, maybe learn, or they won't be all bad. But I'm doubting myself. I'm doubting that that's the right way of doing it, because they're destroying us. I personally, if I stay there, then everybody's going to think I'm like them. I'm a destructive person. And that's not the purpose why I'm staying there. I've been, since all of this movement of the bad Arabs, since September 11, I've been telling people who have disbanded, dishonored, left the Arabhood in them, and became, they started calling themselves the Chaldeans and the Assyrians and the Pharaohs and the Phoenicians, and all of these different facts that they don't want to be associated with Arabs because they're embarrassed. I've been telling them, come back, let's all stay there, let's all get into that circle and be Arabs and show those people that manners, show them how to behave, to, like basically raise these people to be good citizens. But nobody wants to deal with them, and they're getting stronger. When these bad Arabs do these things, they don't realize that they're hurting themselves. They don't care about me. I get that. I get that they don't care about me, but they're hurting themselves. And I don't know what parents allow that. What parents allow that, oh, I am so happy they go, I'm so happy that my kid went there today and destroyed a market. And those infidels are they're gonna see themselves in hell because they are infidels, and they have to go to hell because they're not, Muslim. All of that part, in my opinion, is just all rubbish. I grew up in a Muslim country. Nobody behaved that way. Nobody behaved that way, not inside the country or outside the country. Why are we doing that today? Why are we behaving that way? Why are the Arabs being that mentally deformed? They are depleted. They don't have any brains, and each one of them is hurting their own self before they're hurting anybody else. And in the meantime, they're taking away any sympathy, anything that anybody would say, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to pay attention to this group of people. Maybe they need my help. Nobody wants to help this kind of people. United States and the West, Europe, everywhere, who had already taken a lot of refugees, have so much problems that they need to fix on their own lands, much less dealing with the newcomers that are actually destroying this country even further. That is just something that I have no idea how to wrap my head around it and say, you need to stop doing this. If there's any parents out there, anybody out there that can basically say, let's fix this, I'm in. I'm staying in the circle for the time being, but I don't know how long I can stay. I see so many people on social media that are condemning this and stepping away from it and saying they are the one who are doing it. I don't say that. I say we are, because I want to take ownership of who these people are, because I come from the same place. And for that reason, I want to fix them. I want to fix that behavior. I want to teach them how to appreciate what's given to them. Now, if they later decide, okay, I'm a very good person and I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and then say something like, okay, well, I'm a Muslim, why don't I teach you about Islam? And that person in front of you says, okay, and goes that direction, that's totally fine. But don't do it the way you're doing it. You're creating a wedge, you're creating a war, and there is something going on in your head. That disturbance of a teenager who's going through puberty, who had destroyed, who thinks the whole world is against them, and they're hurting deeply. That needs to be fixed. They need to be fixed somehow. And if there's anybody out there that has a solution for that, I'm open to that. I'm open to do whatever it takes, but I don't know what to do. Right now, I feel like I'm part of the problem, and I'm trying to get out of this whole thing. The weight is so heavy, I can't pull them. I can't take them with me to the land where they can actually see what a great country this is, what a great opportunity they've been offered, what a wonderful world they're living in. And I'm doing everything possible in my hand to do that through my YouTube channel too. These are the English version. The Arabic version actually tells them all of this and urges them to change that. Actually, I not only urge them, but I talk very harshly and tell them they have to do something. They have to allow themselves to accept the gifts that they've been given, because if they were in the same shoes, they would not allow this to happen. So the fact that people are allowing this to happen, they should appreciate that and look at themselves and say, let's fix this. So I'm doing all that I can do. Thankfully, there is social media today that we can go through that and maybe fix that through social media. And I'm doing what I can with Toilet Silver. Thank you. And I want to apologize to everybody that has been hurt or pained by all the problems that's been happening by these newcomers. That's not the way we should behave. And that is just an awful, awful way of behavior. Thank you for listening.